Greetings. I'm going to show you how to break down an M4 m4-22 bolt. It's actually a pretty simple process. I'm just a huge customizer, so I've broken mine down about once or 19 times. First thing is there's a tiny pin in the back side. I'm not exactly sure the size of it, but I used a small screwdriver. You're actually able to punch that out. It should be pretty loose, but when you hold that pin out, make sure you have the bottom side of the bolt facing a table. And I might need to tap it out. And my choice of, actually, you could hold on to the bolt. You just got to make sure that it doesn't come off. My choice of hammer, it will be some needle nose pliers. And I just tap it out so it's about 3/4 of the way out. It should release. Hit the recoil spring. This is the blowback weight. This actually isn't really required for the semi-automatic. It's actually mainly for the automatic version. Chiappa does not make a full automatic version. A lot of the other companies have a sear trip. Now this bolt actually is made for fully automatic, so they may have had that in their design for the bolt, because these notches right here and the bottom side of this bolt right here is for a sear trip. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cold kicking. Also, I polished down the rear side of my firing pin so I could have probably about 0.010 of an inch of an extra strike force, because this was intended for a full auto. I also did polish in these areas so the bolt could slide a little bit more free. That's just my customizing nature. Just make sure that there's no grit, no dirt. This right here is the firing pin release. What I did with my original firing pin, I used a ink pen spring to kind of release a little bit of the tension, because that is a very strong spring. If you want to continue on, I'm not sure what size punch that is, but whatever fits in that tiny little hole. And again, I'll use my trusty hammer here. As that pin comes out the other side, just grab onto it, pull it out. That firing pin is under spring pressure. Just press on it and pull it out. And there's the firing pin spring. This right here is an ink pen spring. It's about the same width and shortly under the same length, but it has a little bit less pressure. So reinstallation, put the spring over the tip of the firing pin, backside down of the bolt, and that has a notch there. I don't know if you're able to see that on the camera here. And you have to line that up with the hole. But you could look right down through that hole. You're probably not going to be able to see it on camera, but I'm seeing it. And this is a tapered pin, so it only goes in one way. And if I could remember which way that was. Okay. And set it in. There you go. And I'm actually going to get a real hammer to tap that back in. Alright, just make sure it's flush. Alright, reassembly. The bolt bounce goes on the back side of the bolt. Like I said, it's not necessarily needed, because 90% of the people that own Chiappa m4-22, 99.99%, don't own fully automatic. This, I have no idea what this part is or what it's called. It goes in like that. It also has a notch, which you're going to need to use a screwdriver, because this actually has a flathead style tip on it, and it has a notch that you're going to have to line back up to get that pin back in. So you put the screwdriver in, you can turn it until that notch comes around the correct side. I hold the screwdriver in my hand like so. Put the spring back on. Oh, I'm forgetting something. Put the bolt bounce back on. Or bolt bounce weight. And slide it back on the rails like so. Now this is where you're going to get a little tricky here. And you just want to make sure it doesn't fly out of your hand. It's not a whole crap ton of spring pressure, but going to be just enough. And crap. So you give it a little bit of persuasion. Alright. Now I also use the screwdriver to hold up against my body here too. This pin right here is not tapered, so it should be able to go in either direction. And you could use some pliers or just tap it in. And now you have your bolt. Oh, and make sure that this weight right here is not binding in these rails. You just pop it back up and it should be fine. All right, thank you.